Beyoncé arrived at the 2026 Met Gala in a crystal-studded ribcage, a silhouette identical to the one she wore to launch her solo career. To see how the world's biggest stars are using these specific historical references to control the global narrative, hit the subscribe button. This year's theme, costume art, tasked designers with a high-stakes challenge. Treat the human body as a blank canvas for 5,000 years of global art history. While many chose standard evening wear, a handful of icons reconfigured the human silhouette into sculptures, forcing us to look at the body through the lens of art history. To understand the looks that actually met the assignment, we have to look at the fashion in three specific layers: the surface, the structure, and the archival history. The first layer of interpretation is the surface. Here, designers manipulated flexible fabric to mimic the texture of unyielding solid art mediums. In her veiled vestal look, Heidi Klum worked with a prosthetic artist to manipulate foam and latex until it mirrored the stillness and heavy drape of carved marble from the mid-1800s. While Klum looked to classical sculpture, Luke Evans focused on a 20th century aesthetic that prioritized a much sharper, more aggressive texture. Evans wore a custom leather look that functioned as a direct recreation of the hyper-masculine sketches of Finnish illustrator Touko Laaksonen. By overriding the expected texture of a red carpet suit, designers succeeded in creating an optical illusion, forcing the viewer to see a rigid historical medium instead of a person in a garment. The second layer is the structure. This is where designers stopped changing textures and started hacking the actual anatomy of the wearer. Kylie Jenner's Schiaparelli gown required 11,000 hours of embroidery to transform her body into the shape of a work-in-progress mannequin, using Baroque pearls to map out a new silhouette. Kim Kardashian took a more rigid approach to anatomical subversion, trading fabric for an orange chrome effect bodysuit that functioned as a wearable sculpture. Her look was inspired by the controversial fiberglass furniture of British pop artist Alan Jones, who reimagined the human form as functional, high-gloss objects. While Kardashian became a singular sculpture, designer Robert One gave singer Lisa a theatrical advantage, attaching a functional extra pair of arms to her body to manage her veil. Cardi B pushed the structural theme to its extreme, channeling the doll photography of Hans Belmer to wear a dress that resembled an anatomical study of internal organs. These looks demonstrate that for the avant-garde, the human silhouette is no longer a fixed boundary, it is a foundation for architectural engineering. The final and most complex layer involves garments built from archival materials and specific historical references. Sabrina Carpenter arrived in a Dior dress where the rhinestones were actually wrapped in literal strips of 1954 celluloid film. The film on her dress was taken from the Audrey Hepburn classic Sabrina, linking the pop star's modern aesthetic directly to the 1954 film she was named after. But the night's most significant archival reference came from Beyoncé and her crystal skeleton gown. The dress is a precise callback to the silhouette she wore during her debut solo tour in 2003. By referencing her own history so specifically, she fueled global theories that a return to her R&B roots or a shift into a new rock-influenced era is imminent. The most effective looks at the Met Gala aren't just beautiful. They are silhouettes that dictate exactly how the public discusses an artist's history and future. We watched the fashion move from material illusions like marble and leather to anatomical subversions and deep archival references. The designers who leaned into the theme moved the red carpet into the territory of the gallery floor, creating pieces that were as much about art history as they were about fashion. When the human body is treated as a 5,000-year-old canvas, it becomes a dynamic medium for challenging our expectations of what clothing can be. Which of these walking masterpieces did you find most compelling? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you in